You buy a plane ticket, arrive at the gate on time, and then hear something that makes no sense. This flight is full. But wait, if you already bought a seat, how can the airline suddenly run out of seats? Because airlines are not really selling seats, they are selling probabilities. Every flight has a certain number of passengers who never make it onto the plane. Some miss connections, some change plans, some arrive too late, some rebook, and some simply do not show up. From the airline's point of view, an empty seat is a product that expires forever the moment the plane takes off. You can't store it, you can't sell it tomorrow, and once that door closes, that revenue is gone. So airlines try to predict human behavior. They use historical data, route patterns, seasonality, business travel behavior, connection risk, weather trends, and booking timing to estimate how many people are likely to miss the flight. Then they sell slightly more tickets than there are physical seats. That is overbooking. And on paper, it makes perfect business sense. Let's say a flight has 180 seats. If history suggests that 4 or 5 passengers usually do not show up, the airline may decide to sell 183, 184, or even more tickets. Most of the time, the math works. Everyone who actually arrives still fits on the plane. The airline earns more money, and the system looks efficient. But the whole model depends on one thing: the forecast being right. If more passengers show up than expected, the airline has a problem. Now it has sold more certainty than it can physically deliver. That is when you hear announcements asking for volunteers. The airline offers travel credits, hotel vouchers, meal coupons, or cash-like compensation, because paying a few people to take a later flight can still be cheaper than flying with empty seats on hundreds of flights over time. So overbooking is not really a mistake. It is a calculated trade-off. Most customers never notice it because most of the time it works silently in the background. You only notice the system when the prediction fails. And that is what makes the airline industry so interesting. It is a business built on thin margins, fixed departure times, expensive assets, and perishable inventory. Hotels can discount a room for tomorrow. Retailers can keep inventory in storage. Streaming companies can serve one more user at almost no extra cost. Airlines cannot do that. If seat 14A leaves empty, that revenue disappears forever. So the airline is constantly balancing two risks. Risk number 1, leave money on the table by flying with empty seats. Risk number 2, upset customers by selling more tickets than the plane can handle. And airlines have decided that, in many cases, the first risk is more expensive than the second. That may sound unfair, but it reveals something important about how modern businesses operate. Many companies are not optimizing for perfect customer experience. They are optimizing for predictable economics. Airlines know that a small number of frustrated passengers may be financially acceptable if the overall system becomes more profitable. That is why the industry invests so heavily in revenue management. Not just to sell tickets, but to price uncertainty. In a way, when you buy a plane ticket, you are buying a place in a statistical model. Usually, that model works in your favor. Sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you suddenly see the hidden logic behind the whole business. The airline never believed every ticket would become a passenger. It only believed the averages would hold. That is the real reason airlines sell seats they do not actually have. If you want more videos about the hidden economics behind everyday business decisions, subscribe, because once you see the incentive, the behavior starts to make sense.